Hello, travelers. Welcome to Life Between Flights, the podcast about the travel industry, small business, and all of life's interruptions. I am your host, Cecily North-Rudo, owner of Traveling North Travel Agency and certified travel advisor. I can't believe that I am already talking about it being the middle of the year. 2026 has flown by, especially this past month or so. My kiddo is now going to be headed to kindergarten and a whole bunch of life changes happening all at once. So it's very exciting, but I wanted to take some time this week to just highlight some of the discussions that I've had so far in the first 6 months of the year, because I can't believe we are already halfway through 2026 and I've also had over 25 episodes of the podcast already. So I wanted to just reflect on some of the conversations I've had with my guests and things that we've talked about on the podcast. And so what I really wanted to highlight was I presented to one of my networking groups probably about a month or so ago, and I was going through all of the interviews I've done for the podcast, even ones that are going to be coming out in the future. And I was just looking at what we've talked about. Other people find challenges in their business, the challenges that we face in the travel industry, or just owning a small business in general. And I wanted to highlight some of the advice that people have had. It's funny, every person I've talked to gives a different answer, and that's the great thing about doing this and talking to others, is that everyone has different challenges and different ways that they deal with those challenges, and also all of our different life experiences and all of that, how we transpose that into our business and our outlook, and how we deal with challenges and difficult clients, and how we deal with celebrating the wins and all of those things. You know, this year for me has been huge for my business and just continues to grow, which is always astounding to me. And I am always so thankful for my clients, my friends, my referrals, everyone that supports my business in whatever way they can. And really being able to have this outlet on the podcast has also been really rewarding, and being able to just hear from other people, hear from other travel agents, hear from people in my host agency, and being able to just talk about the industry and talk about how we do what we do and why we do what we do, and how we've kind of all fallen into the paths that we have. A couple months ago, I was at an archivist conference, just a local conference, where I was getting to hang out with people that I have now known for over 20 years, which is also crazy to say, because I remember going to that conference for the first time in 2005 and being brand new to the library and archival world, and meeting people and just being overwhelmed. And now when I walk into that room and I know I have my people that I know, of course, there's a lot of students and people, like there's a lot of industry changes going on there as well. But it's just funny looking back and realizing that suddenly you are no longer the youngest person in the room, and you are suddenly the person with experience and education, and have grown, and just how my career has changed over the years, both in the library world and the travel world. It's just crazy to look back on it all now and see how things have changed. And back in 2005, when I went to that first archivist conference, I don't think anyone could have told me that my path was going to be my path and that I would be here now and doing what I'm doing, and having done, you know, a lot of different things in between, and definitely taking diversions along the way, whether that's good or bad, but it's all led me to where I'm at now. So let's go ahead and move on to some of the interviews. It's so great to have people that I actually know and have met who are willing to come on and talk to me about their businesses and their path and what they do and what they love, and how they have kind of grown their business over time and the lessons that they have learned. So up first, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Chris Wilson-Slack from Managers to Leaders. She had such a great energy. She was my actual first recording, so I think we both weren't really sure how it was going to go, but I love sitting down with her. I love everything about her energy, her art, her willingness to share and to support others in whatever capacity that is. So here's a little bit of my conversation with Chris.
I would say the best advice is about being yourself. It's really hard in this world. There's messages, I think there's messages we don't even know about that are coming at us, telling us we have to be this way. If we work in a corporate environment or work for a large agency or something, they're saying, this is the image we want to portray. Whether they say it or not, they're doing it. They're feeding you what you should say. They're feeding you what you should think and all of that. It is so hard to realize, I think, that we can be ourselves and still be okay and be safe and be great people and great business owners and great leaders, right? I think it's about being authentic. And that was probably the best advice I got, was like, everybody else is taken. I'm going to be myself, you know? So I'm going to be just as weird and get over it.
Yep. Yeah. Up next, I can officially now call her my bookkeeper, Laura Woodholm of Woodholm Bookkeeping. Laura has been so kind to be on the podcast twice now to talk about budgets and business and finance and all of those things. I definitely have needed help, and I'm so glad that she is now helping me clean up my books and get everything in order. I feel way better about just my business and my finances and just being prepared for taxes and all of those things, and seeing how my business is continuing to grow, and where I can start to invest and actually have a profit and be paying myself in the future and all of those things. And I really love our conversations both on the podcast and off. We talk a lot about just being moms, and her kids are leaving high school and all of those things, and mine is just entering school, so to be on different sides of that spectrum. But she's always a delight to talk to, and I just love her outlook on life, and just that she started her business and continues to grow and expand. And we've talked a lot about our challenges and our struggles with various things. And so here's a little bit from my talk with Laura Woodholm of Woodholm Bookkeeping.
For me, it's personally, business-wise, it's to be patient and allow God to guide me where he wants me to go. We're Christians, and we really put a lot of our faith in, what God wants us to do. And I am a planner, and I have a very hard time just stopping and being still. Mm-hmm. And so it's just reminding myself to stop, breathe, pray, and then move forward. Mm-hmm. And so patience is really the best advice. Just chill. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to do all the things at once. You don't have to conquer everything at one time. One step at a time.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to continue to say this about everyone in this episode, but up next is another favorite person. I truly admire her work and her photography, Sarah Turbyfill of Turbyfill Design. She's the one that has done my headshots. She truly is passionate about what she does. She is highly educated and certified in what she does. If you check out her travel photography, it is absolutely beautiful. I love that she puts these color palettes together from her photography, and it's just always beautiful and amazing. And I loved working with her on my headshots because she captured exactly what I wanted. And I know in the future I'll be working with her again when I need a little refresh. But she is just a delight to talk to, and just has such an interesting background. So please enjoy my conversation with Sarah.
I would say the best advice I've ever received is going to go back to being your authentic self. There's a famous quote, I forget exactly what it says, but basically you need to be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really important, especially in the world we live in today. Everything's online. There's so much thrown at us all the time. So if you're just blending in with everyone else, copying what everyone else is doing, and you're not bringing your own uniqueness to it, I think that's a place that a lot of people can work on. I'm shy. I'm a little awkward sometimes. So I don't necessarily want to bring that out, but I think there are other people that work with me because of that, because they feel the same way. So it's it's okay to let that out.
And up next is a person that truly has changed my business, and someone I talk about, I think, in almost every single episode. But when I met Sean with Nanopulse Digital, he was referred to me from my local chamber, and then we have met at several chamber events since then. And truly, from the moment we started working together, which was over a year and a half now, coming up on 2 years here soon, we have had such a great collaboration together, and he is always willing to help, and he is always super responsive, And I truly love working with Sean. I just love his energy. I love his ideas, and I love his solutions for things. Or if I have questions about social media or SEO, or, where I should go with my business, or how we should display that on my website, or how we should promote that, he always has really, really great ideas. And he's always willing to try stuff, which I greatly appreciate, because I am someone that is always like, hey, I want to do this. Let's do it right now before we lose momentum. So please enjoy my little conversation with Sean.
Best advice I've ever received was from, I had a former employer. He was a great boss. He did AV, so like electronics stuff. And it was just, he's a very practical guy, and his dreams are very high, which is very funny. But it was like, figure out what your biggest skill, I think he called it a BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. Figure out what that big goal is 20 years in the future, and then just break it up into chunks. And that's helped me a lot, because it's like, oh, if I want to be here and all I have to do is these little things today, that's doable. Looking at your big goals and then having that oh man, that's scary is tough. But breaking it up into little chunks is always going to be better.
So another conversation that I wanted to highlight was with Philippa Games. She was a trained archivist and then never worked in archives, but the way that she took her education and her passion and turned it into this business, analyzing websites and analyzing, the statistics and how things work and how people show themselves online. It was just a fascinating conversation, and being the kind of data organization person that I am in my library life, I greatly appreciate everything that she does. And I also appreciate that she has a lot of free resources available on her website as well. So please enjoy my conversation with Philippa.
Well, a long time ago, I worked for Deloitte in London. I started out life after I'd qualified as an archivist. I then never worked actually as an archivist. And I became a management consultant at Deloitte in IT and financial services, actually. And well, there are actually two things. But one that really stands out is I was selling a software product that Deloitte developed at that time. And I was kind of the main salesperson for that product. And I was doing this presentation, and the potential client had said that they were very, very interested, and they were going to go and run it by their more senior decision leaders, but that, it was all very positive. And I said something else, and the guy just turned around to me and he said, "Stop talking. Stop talking. You've already sold me. You don't need to say anymore. If you keep talking, you're going to say the wrong thing." And it was great. He was absolutely right.
So y'all have heard me talk about networking and marketing and social media and all of those things multiple times on this podcast. And, one of the people that I truly enjoyed talking to was Charlie Sells of Clarity Over Everything. We talked a lot about networking and marketing and how you show up in those spaces and the things that you can do to just get your name out there. And so he was just a delight. Our episode, we could have kept talking for hours after we cut it off quickly, but the time spent with him really did fly by. So I greatly appreciate him coming on the podcast and spending time with me to talk about branding and just the things that we face in the networking world and how to get yourself out there in a smart way. So please enjoy the snippet from my interview with Charlie Sells.
I think I'll quote my dad on this one, and I'm just doing this off the cuff. My dad was in radio sales for 30 years. He was on the radio, then went to school, and then got out into the, radio world and worked in that all the way up until Pandora and streaming came online, and then ad dollars just did something very strange. They went to, where everybody was going. And so now he's been in financial planning since then. And I remember talking to him very early on, just, how do you have success in business? I might have been like 13 or 14 years old and kind of trying to feel out who you want to be in the world, what you want to do, all of that. I kind of knew that he was in sales and thought that might be a path I wanted to go down. Nope, too creative for sales. That's my opinion. But I remember saying, how do you go find business? How do you hire employees? How do you network correctly? All of that. And the thing that he continued to say was, I'm always willing to have a conversation. If somebody wants to hire me for another job, I'll have the conversation. 9 times out of 10 doesn't work out, and that's okay. But you never know if that's going to turn into business someday. You have no idea if that person's going to recommend business coming your way, or, if you're going to need their help with you just never know. And a different version of that I heard when I got into college And I probably took this a little bit too much to heart just because I'm a mega extrovert. And I was like, oh, there's my permission to go do this. Somebody said at like a business meet and greet thing, I was like, hey, just so you know, it's not about the grades you make, it's about the hands you shake. And I was like, whoa, that'll preach. I like that.
All right, y'all. So I wanted to say one of my favorite people in the whole wide world for last. I cannot say enough nice and kind things about this person. He truly, every single time I talk about him, I say he is a light in my life, and he truly is. We met very quickly after I joined my networking group with the Chamber, and we have gotten to work on several things together and continue to try to catch up once in a while after meetings and things like that. And he is always so giving and willing to help and willing to have conversations with people. And he provides really, really quality work. And it's funny. So talking with Dr. Quinn Denny of IOSite, we had this interview, and we have worked together now a couple times, and we see each other practically every other week in our chamber groups. But when we sat down to talk and have this conversation, like literally as we started recording, I didn't think I was going to get emotional about it, and I truly did almost start to cry, which then made him emotional. And so we were joking afterwards of like, we were not expecting to like have this moment of being emotional about our friendship and the relationship that we've developed over the past couple of years. But he truly is just one of those people that I find what he does fascinating, and that he can come into a company or talk with someone and really help them either find those sticking points in a process or sticking points in the hiring process, when you're looking to hire the right people, or maybe you've hired someone and they just aren't a good fit. Like, how do you change the processes or change kind of the expectations, or working with individuals and saying, hey, these are my skills, these are the things I'm good at. What can that translate into in as far as a career, or finding what I love to do? So please enjoy this small part of my conversation with Dr. Quinn Denny of IOSite.
Oh, gosh, that question, it's really hard. I was trying to think of the best advice, and I think for me right now, just, when I was younger, my dad gave me, and I know you have because you know lots of information, that, Theodore Roosevelt's, it's not the critic who counts. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best advice as a business owner, because I was thinking about that. There's a lot of, quick fixes out there, like, have you read so-and-so's book and these kind of thing, or whatever the latest fad is. And I think the tendency when we're trying to achieve something a lot of times is to look to our left or right. And we might look at another business owner and think, oh, they're super successful, or that person's completely failed. And I think the reality, too, is that our businesses are unique. But not only that, we're unique as people. Mm-hmm. And so a set of variables that one business and one owner, or owners have is not the same as what we have. So to a degree, there's a lot of commonalities. Like, we got to watch cash flow, and we got to do some of these best-in-breed practices. Mm-hmm. But we're also not that person. And they're not us, and they don't have our life challenges. They don't have our fears. They don't have, our immunity to certain fears that we have. Mm-hmm. And I think, I really respect small business owners, because I think we're in the mix, and, I just don't respect people who aren't on the field. So if they don't know what the grass smells like, and they don't know what it feels like to fall down, there's more critics always than there are players. And so I think the best advice is to focus on what you're doing, maintain your confidence, surround yourself with people who are genuine and who really do care, and also people who experientially can understand what it's like to go through hardship. Mm-hmm. I think it's a big deal, because we're all going to have our moments when we doubt ourselves. I mean, it just happens.
Well, that does it for today's episode. I am still so blown away that we are now into July, and that this year is halfway over. When I first started thinking about this podcast last year, I had no idea where it was going to go. I knew I had a whole lot of ideas, but had no idea how it was going to turn into this thing that it is now turned into. So I appreciate every single one of you for listening, for all of those that have shared your episodes with others, for all of you that have listened, shared, liked, commented. I truly appreciate every single one of you. And I am so excited about this podcast, but also, the whole purpose of doing this is to help other business owners, other travel agents, other travel advisors, anyone out there who feels like you're on your own or feels like you're struggling or that you might be kind of lost in your career path, that this is a place to come and listen to others and hear their stories and see how they've dealt with it. And, you know, I think a lot of us, there's so many similarities, even though, you know, I've talked to people on the other side of the world. I've talked to people that do very, very different things than what I do. And there's still this bit of commonality between all of us of wanting to do what we love and finding the right balance between the actual work and the things that we don't want to do and the things that we truly are passionate about, that we love to do, and the things that really help wake us up in the morning and why we do what we do every single day. And I am so thankful for my guests that have come on, all of those that are willing to talk to me and have the conversations and answer the questions and all of those things. It truly is so much fun to put all of this together and to coordinate all of this, and it's been so fun, and I'm really, really looking forward to the rest of 2026. So with that, I hope you all enjoy your summer. I hope you're all having some time off and able to enjoy time with family and friends and getting to see a little bit more than just your desk or your cubicle or wherever it is that you work. And with that, safe travels, and may your luggage follow you wherever you go. Today's episode of Life Between Flights was sponsored by me, Traveling North, produced by me and edited by Nomad Creations. Please check out the show notes for referral links, discount codes, and more resources that I've talked about in this episode. You can also follow along on our social media on Facebook and Instagram at Life Between Flights Pod. If you want help planning your next adventure, you can always check me out at travelingnorthagency.com. If you have any questions, ideas, or would like to sponsor this podcast, you can email us at lifebetweenflightspod@gmail.com.